so honored to be asked to talk about a topic that's near and dear to my heart, something that I have poured my heart and soul into over the past, 3-4 years, trying to culminate everything that I've done in my life and leading up to this point. Just a really brief introduction. My name is Andy. I am a mindset and trauma coach. And I like to think of myself as the trauma catalyst because I do truly believe that I help women get from A to B to even Z if they need to go there. I'm a complex trauma survivor myself. I have survived mental, sexual, narcissistic, and emotional abuse, all by the time I was 8 years old. I'm a mother of 4. I have 3 daughters and a son. I was just telling Keisha I would have had them on here because we like to get real. But my puppy is running around here somewhere, so you might hear her in the background. I did just get a fur baby over Christmas, and her name is Tilly, and you might see her here and there. Before we begin and dive into the material, I want to tell you that anything that is said today in no way is a replacement for therapy or professional help. I am not a licensed therapist or a psychologist. I am trauma informed. However, I have a very firm grasp on how to heal trauma. I believe that everything that I was taught in my life from the School of Hard Knocks has led me to where I am now. I actually don't think a degree would have done me any justice, that I needed to go through the journey myself. Because what makes me unique is when I present healing trauma, I present it from a place of actual knowing. I'm not sitting here referring to a book. I'm not trying to get regulated through insurance companies. This isn't talk therapy. I am not somebody that's going to sit and just take notes. I'm going to dive in. I'm going to meet you where you are, and I'm going to help you regulate your emotions, feel better in your body so you can come home to who you are. My mission is to help 1 million women. That is my mission before I die. It is a legacy that I hold super dear to me. Like I said, I have 3 daughters, and I love my son dearly, but I have to say, this business is really in dedication of them because I'm a girl. I'm a woman now, and I went through so much. People have no idea what I've gone through. And my daughters have a luxury. They are not going through those things. They have good parents that love them and that support them. And that, like Keisha and I were just talking about, we are aware now. We can give them all these tools to better their life because we've gone through it. We've already been through the worst of it. I want to really give my daughters a full tool bag of everything they need to get through their life. And of course, they're going to hit places where it's not good. They're not going to feel good. They're going to deal with trauma themselves. They probably already have. If anything, I've traumatized them probably in some ways. The difference is I know now better, and I can go back and help them process that. I can help you process that. And that's really what trauma is. Trauma is not what happens to you, it's how your body reacts to it. And what happens is we don't process properly, and that's why we're here in the stuck place. So I could talk about that like all day and all night for years, but I'm not going to do that because we have things to cover here that Keisha kind of assigned me to do. But I'm so happy to be talking about healing trauma because it can help you in your business. I am a formal wedding planner and designer. I know, kind of a stretch. People are like, how did you go from wedding planner to trauma coach? Very strange, but not really. If you watched my life like in a movie, you would totally see the trajectory with such a natural progression for me. I started off in my entrepreneurship journey as a makeup artist. I then evolved into the wedding industry because I was doing weddings. I was already in the industry. Then I got into wedding planning when my son was born. I realized that being a mom was the best gift in the world, but it was also a super lonely gift. And I became more curious about who I was and what skills did I have that I could bring to the world and how could I help people. And I love design and I love details and I love aesthetic, but I didn't know what to do with it. So I planned parties and people were like, you're really good at this. And I was like, yeah, I am. And I felt really good about doing it. Like when we feel light up about something, that's when that's the green light to go, to accomplish, to move pieces, to make it happen. I feel really lit up about the wedding industry. So I started planning weddings. I just printed business cards. And then my husband was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm getting business cards. I'm a business owner now, literally within a week. And he was like, okay. So I set off to be a wedding planner. I ended up being a very highly recommended wedding planner in the Boston and beyond area. I have been published 6 times nationally for my designs, my collaborations, and the weddings that I have planned and designed. I have been awarded Bride's Choice Award, the Knot Award. I have spoken on many stages to advocate for women in business, for women in the event industry. I spearheaded a hospitality department at local colleges where I am from. I've spoken on their stages, and I've helped students see that if it's possible for me, it's possible for them. Through that trajectory, I found that being surrounded by women that had drive and wanted more for their life fucking lit me up like a Christmas tree. I was like, sign me up. I want to be around these women. And I never liked women. Here's the kicker. I never liked women. I used to hang out with a bunch of guys. I never was really, they always had drama. So I was kind of like, I didn't trust women, probably because of my issues with my own mother. However, we don't get into that now. But I found that being with women was just an amazing feeling, like these women wanting more with their life, and so did I. So we were able to come together and co-create amazing things together. So anyway, the story goes on, but I'm just trying to show you that there's definitely a trajectory here. After working with women for so long, I found that they were stuck. And it had nothing to do with talent. It had nothing to do with education or certification or skill or anything to do with that. It had to do with themselves. It had to do with confidence. It had to do with them not knowing who they were and how to put their gifts into the world. They felt unworthy to charge what they needed to charge to make a living. They were people pleasing. They were afraid to say no. There were no boundaries. And that's where everything starts to crumble, okay? And that's what I'm going to talk about today. How healing the trauma, because that's the root cause of this, can help support you in your business and in your life. Any questions so far before we dive into the material? Okay, cool. All right, so I really want to make this like an interactive experience. But first and foremost, as Keisha knows, we talk about human design. I do readings for human design. I am a generator. And I have an open throat, which means talking comes easily. I'm like Chatty Cathy, so keep me on target, Keisha, with time. But sometimes like talking like this gets more difficult because I'm a responder. That's my strategy, is to respond. So it can be like screaming into a void. So I really want you to interact with me. Ask me questions if anything comes up. If anything doesn't, that's cool too. You can also use the chat as well, and I'll check it periodically. All right, so here we go. Let's talk about how healing trauma affects your business, because that's what we're here for. Listen, I can't tell you what it feels like when you heal unresolved trauma. I know this because I'm coming from experience. And what this does to your life and for your life is just amazing. Today we're going to focus on business because that's why I'm here. But truly, once you heal, it spills into every aspect of your life. And I am living proof of that, okay? So without going too deep into the scientific and neurological aspects and effects of trauma, let's just dive into a very simple place. I want to keep this really simple for you. Each and every one of us experience trauma, some sort of trauma. There's not one person on this face of the earth that can say, I've never had anything traumatic happen to me. I call BS on that completely. Maybe you're not aware that it's traumatic. Maybe your body didn't process it as trauma, but we all, if we've experienced loss, if we've had surgery, if we've broken a bone, if someone bullied you, if your parent said something to you and it made you feel unloved, unwanted, abandoned, that is all trauma, okay? Now, trauma doesn't look the same for everyone. The real definition of trauma, and I already said this before and I'll repeat it again, it's not what has happened to you. That's what we're taught. That's the picture that everyone blows up. It's not. Trauma is what you've experienced on the inside, that somatic experience, how your body has processed the emotions, or for lack of better words, not processed the emotions. So let me give you a quick example so you can kind of follow along, because I don't have slides for you, because I don't really roll with slides. I just have some notes. So here's my example. Say you and your friend get into a car accident. It's a very minor car accident. You have no scratches. The car really doesn't have any damage. The other car doesn't have damage. Nobody's hurt. Very minor, okay? Now you leave the accident totally fine. You're mentally fine. You're physically fine. Everything is good. Your friend, the passenger, also leaves the car accident totally fine. But the next day, your friend calls you and is like, I kind of have a headache. I have an achy neck. Not feeling so good. Now, mind you, you're fine, okay? Couple of days go by, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, you're still fine. But now your friend is experiencing some mental anguish. Maybe she's feeling sick. She's having flashbacks or panic attacks. A few more days go by, she's not feeling well at all. Her body hurts everywhere. She has a headache, it's pounding. She's getting digestion issues. That is trauma. That's what trauma does to us. So just because you're fine and you walk away with it fine, your body just processed it very differently. This other person, your friend, either didn't process it at all, or it triggered something else, like a root cause of her emotional trauma. So it triggered something in her body to be like, protect, protect, protect. And her body started protecting her, but then through our protection, which is good for us, but because we don't know how to regulate, we end up with symptoms. Does that make sense? I know does that make sense? Okay. Somebody in the chat saying something? Oh, wow, that's such a good way to explain it. Cool. Okay. So simple explanation is our bodies experience trauma differently. It never looks the same way. And with that said, remember that just because you've gone through something and maybe your friend, your husband, your parents, your best friend are like, you're fine. What are you so upset about? You're totally fine. Doesn't mean that your body doesn't feel like you're not fine. And it doesn't mean that you shouldn't tune in and say to yourself, okay, body, what's going on here? Like, tune in, like, get in touch with your body. And I do an exercise about getting in touch with our bodies in my coaching when I'm working one-to-one, but it's a little bit long to do it here. And sometimes it takes like a repetition of the exercise to really get someone to go back into their bodies. All right, so there are so many layers of trauma and healing that we can't possibly cover today, unfortunately, unless I had like 7 hours. But even then, it wouldn't be long enough. But what I do want you to walk away from with this here is just a better awareness, right? Like I said, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychologist. I don't believe that I'm here to be those things. I really think I'm here to bring awareness. How is this affecting your life? How is this affecting your business? How is it affecting the way that you parent? So that's why I'm here. I'm here to give you the medicine that I've already taken to heal, and now it's your time to heal. So I broke it up into 5 factors of trauma that can affect your business. And I'm going to go down the list of them, and I'm going to break them apart, and we're going to unpack them a little bit. And then if you have any questions, let's delve into those questions, because that's truly where you're going to heal. I say this, almost everyone experiencing this differently. Yes, for sure. Okay, number 1, how does it affect your business? And how can we change the game? Decision making. Trauma affects how we make decisions tenfold. And for most of us on this live, or who are coming on the replay, we are our business. Anybody that says to you, oh, if you're struggling with that, your business won't suffer. Again, bullshit. Your business will suffer. If you're fighting with your husband day after day and there's abuse there and you don't feel supported and you're struggling to just stay above water, you will not show up in your business the same way. This will instantly cause reaction in your body, and you will put out that into your business. I have been there, and I have done this in a different way. You need to be in the right headspace when you are running a business. Simple as that. It's a business. These are not hobbies. That's the difference. If you want a hobby, go with a hobby. But if you want a business, you have to treat it as such. And in making and having a business that thrives and grows and evolves, you've got to make the right decisions. Decisions can really affect your bottom line and your full client experience. So when we are stuck in traumatic responses like fight, flight, or freeze, our bodies can't process anymore. It goes into overdrive, and we can either check out, which most of us do, numb out on Netflix. We avoid PayPal. We don't want to see the statements. We ignore the mail piling up. We don't want to know what our financial situations are. We avoid taking clients. We stop putting stuff out there because we're kind of paralyzed, right? So we can either check out, numb out, avoid, procrastinate, make excuses, lose motivation. Oh, I don't have time. I don't have time. No, you have time, but you're afraid to put the time into what you need to because what's happening over here is too overwhelming for you, right? We can develop poor concentrations and other things that can follow. You can have the best strategy, people. I'm telling you, I'll sound like a broken record to the day I die. You can have the best looking package on the outside. Best strategy, most beautiful everything, perfect details, streamlined websites. You can look like $1 million, wear Prada, Gucci, walk the streets. Hey, I'm the boss, bitch. I got it all made. You can do all of it. But if you don't have clarity, if you don't have confidence, if you can't execute decisions because you are a people pleaser, because you're afraid to set boundaries, because you're afraid and insecure to make the wrong decisions or make a mistake in your business, you will hurt your business ultimately. So on the flip side, when you heal unresolved triggers and trauma, then you develop more confidence, you gain more clarity. And I know this sounds like very basic, but truthfully, without these two things, the margin for error is way too big. Way too big. And you're leaving money on the table. That's the saddest part to see, is when I see women who have a great, they have a message, they have a great, business plan, they want to do all these amazing things, and you talk to them and they're excited, and then it all falls apart at the seam. That's because the fabric isn't woven tight enough. There's not that foundational piece built yet, because you're still dealing with unwavering emotions that haven't been processed. Does that make sense so far? Okay, cool. So here's my advice. If you can't make decisions for your business, I'm not telling you to throw in the towel. There was definitely a time in my life when I wasn't a good decision maker. I wasn't handling my money very well. I wasn't bringing a great client experience. I wasn't feeling into the business. I was procrastinating. I lost motivation. It all went to shit in a handbag. But I couldn't give it up because I had a family to support. So my advice is, if you're at this place, hire someone. Elect someone to come in and be the vision for your decisions. Someone that aligns with what you want in your business, someone that supports the trajectory that you're on, supports the mission, supports the vision, and can speak in your language, but has a clear mind, is not emotionally attached or being triggered. Let them sign a power of attorney with an attorney. And I'm not an attorney, so I can't give you legal advice, but get a power of attorney, put a contract together, and let them make decisions on your behalf. That way you can still be building, you can still be a part of the business, but you can also be strengthening that muscle, that emotional muscle, while they're making decisions, and it doesn't have to go, and all your work doesn't have to go to waste, okay? The next factor is boundary setting. Can I get an amen right now? I see too many freaking people walking around with zero fucking boundaries. Like, how do we even live without boundaries? You have to set boundaries, guys. You got to set them with your husband, with your children, with your dog, with your best friend. It doesn't matter. Boundaries need to be set. Boundaries are there to protect you. They are not there to hurt you. And I'm going to go into why I believe we resist boundaries so much. So when you have unhealed trauma, boundaries are blurred, especially in your relationships. But as an entrepreneur, I have learned that in order for me to be successful in any way, I have to set unbreakable boundaries. Unbreakable here is the word. Not like, oh, I'll set a boundary and then tomorrow I'll just like let that client call me at 4 a.m. just because I don't want to lose their business. That's not an unbreakable boundary, okay? I help my clients do this. It's one piece most of my clients, all of my clients, I'm being nice, resist. And I figured out why it's so resistant. And here's what I figured out, or here's what I came up with. Boundaries are a form of rejection. And it's very counterintuitive for us as human beings because we don't like to feel rejected. But when we set a boundary on someone, it's like we're rejecting them, which in essence, we're rejecting the energy. We're rejecting whatever they're throwing at us that doesn't feel right. But it's our God-given right to protect ourselves, okay? And without boundaries, we can't do that. We have to protect our energy and our time. Without those two things, it's kind of like we're a free-for-all, and then we have nothing left to give. So I like to think of it this way, and this is how I kind of put it when I'm talking about boundaries, a very elementary way. It's like without boundaries, it's like imagining opening your door to your home, to your sanctuary, to your place of safety. So you open your door to your home and you let anyone come in no matter what time, day or night. They're eating your food, sleeping on your bed, rummaging through your personal belongings. Does that feel good? Does that feel good? No. We would never open our home to just anyone on the street to come in and get into our space, in our safety space. That would never happen, right? We do things to protect our home. We do things so people can't come in our homes. So why don't we protect our bodies, our minds, our businesses, our inner self the same way? And I will tell you why. This is directly connected to trauma. Now, there are a few things that I want to add about boundary settings that I think is complete BS. People will try to break these boundaries. They will push their limits. Adults can throw bigger tantrums, let me tell you, than children can, right? They feel rejected because that's kind of in essence what's happening, right? It's counterintuitive to you because you don't like to feel rejected, but it's also a way of like stopping them, and they don't want to stop. They don't want to stop. No one wants to stop. So when you have these boundaries that are breaking, there's also these limits that are breaking. When bigger traumas happen for people, on a subconscious level, they are in such a limbo state of mind, right? They don't know, they don't have the clarity. They don't have the withstanding of, feeling supported enough. So like they're afraid to set a boundary because they've never had that real support and that processing. So it's like, if I set a boundary, then I'm automatically warding off this kind of settling for something type of thing. Like you're either settling for money or settling for attention or settling for a relationship that's really shit and they treat you terrible, but you're like, I'm gonna stay here because this is what I know to be true. And if I set a boundary, I might lose them. Right? Does that make sense? So we don't set boundaries because we don't want to have to put up the wall there, okay? But it's such a game changer when you do. When you heal and you know for certainty that boundaries are the only way to protect yourself, you slowly feel more worthy. You feel like the badass that you are. You are this goddess that needs to be protected. And I'm not talking about walls, like emotional walls. Don't let anybody in. Be stone cold. like ward off everyone because you're afraid. No, boundaries are a delicate gate around our soul. They're just a delicate gate around our soul, and we determine if they need to get tougher, if they need to get taller, if they need to get shorter. We determine that. We determine what feels good in our body. So if it feels like bullshit, it is bullshit. So trim the fat and set your boundaries, okay? And that can go deeper, and I work with women all the time on setting boundaries. Okay, Keisha, I feel personally called out. No judgment, baby girl, no judgment. Okay, let's talk about money, honey. All right, I'm gonna take a sip of water, and then we're gonna jump into this one. I feel like this is like a big one. How are we doing so far? Am I going too fast? Are we good on time? Any questions? We have 2 more to get through. Okay, perfect. Thanks, Keisha. Okay, let's talk about money, honey. This is probably the biggest one I see besides the boundaries. This one is where I help the clients the most because, let's be honest, money talks, right? We all want to make money. We're certainly not in business to look pretty, although looking pretty is fun and it's exciting, but it isn't our goal. And we're certainly not here to save the whales, right? We might do purposeful work in the world. I think what I do is super purposeful. I'm super driven by my mission. But let's be honest, I wouldn't be sitting here helping you if I didn't have money to do that. If I didn't have money to have my house clean, I couldn't sit here and use this time. I'd have to be cleaning my house before my 4 kids got home, right? So money talks, for sure. And I'm not going to pretend it doesn't. But here's where money gets really, it really gets hard when it comes to trauma. We all have a money story attached to our business. It doesn't matter if you come from $1 million, millions of dollars, or you come from the ghetto with absolutely nothing. You have conjured up a story about your worth, and you have attached a number to it. You've attached a number to it. And if you think about it, every time you price out a client in your head, you've already downgraded your worth because you've attached a number to it. Okay. There is no number. There is no number. You are innately worthy. There's not any number that you could charge your clients that would prove your worth because you are worthy, right? You are worthy. So what happens is trauma interferes with our abilities to give, to receive. It truly fucks up our ability to give and more so to receive. We have trouble with saying, I want this, I need this, without attaching or projecting insecurities onto clients. You might have a client right now that already is in the universe waiting for you, like Michelle needs you, like you've come through so much, you're a freaking warrior, you're a badass, you got an amazing message, and she's sitting there in your pool of soulmate clients just waiting for you, but energetically, you don't feel worthy for her. So therefore, you're not calling her into your vibration. You're just not. And I've learned this the hard way, and I've proved this to be true time after time again, okay? One of the other girls that did Paige, I think it was, she did an amazing thing on laws of attraction and manifestation. Go watch the replay. She gives you such golden nuggets about attracting money and all the good stuff. All right, so back to what I was saying before. So we have attached this story, okay? Because trauma interferes with that ability to give and to more so receive. We think that we have to overcompensate for stuff. So we do things like add things to our programs. We start adding bonuses. We start adding payment options. We start giving things away. Oh, here's a session for free, or here's this, or here's that. Here's my products for free. Here's my firstborn for good measure. Like we start just giving away the house, everything, right? Because we're not good enough. We're not good enough. And this all stems from trauma. You could have direct money trauma too, okay? Money is used as a form of control, power, authority. It either takes away from your life, it either makes you feel like you're in scarcity, or you feel you're abundant, right? So there's kind of like, there's like a back and forth dance. And what happens is, that in relationships, and I see this all the time with like my clients who have gone through a divorce or maybe a business deal that's fell through, whatever, is someone's holding money over someone's head. Parents do this unbeknownst. I have done it sometimes unbeknownst to me that I'm even doing it. But parents control you with money. I'm not going to pay for that college unless you major in that, because that's what I want. So I'm going to take the money away. I'm going to take the resource that you need to get there unless you conform to my beliefs and what I want you to do. When I was in wedding planning, I saw this all the time. I would have brides crying to me. My mother wants to invite so-and-so, but I don't even know them. She won't let me do calla lilies for my centerpieces. She wants to do this. And if I don't choose what she wants, she says, I'm not going to pay for it. I'm not going to pay for your wedding. Happens all the time. And it's really sad. And it's really discouraging. And it's damaging. It's very, very damaging to hold money over someone's head. Okay, so it can cause major, major, major damage for years to come that are like generationally hard to heal for sure. Money trauma gets stored so far deep because we are triggered by money daily, especially if we're in business. Okay, so as you can see, money is the root of your worth issues. Now, you didn't hear me say it's the root of evil, because it's not. Money is not sleazy. It's not slimy, neither is sales. When you ask for money, you are asking for a basic need. You have to support your family. You have to put clothes on your back. You have to put food on your table. The more money you make, the better you're doing in business. You can give, and help. But when you attach your money story to it, you can't do any of that. You almost like plateau at a certain point, and you can't break that money ceiling. And I help my clients break their money ceilings because there's so much energy. Money is just energy. And there's so much more vibration up here than down here in this very stuck money scarcity story that you have. So healing trauma at this level triggers the subconscious mind. It triggers the money fears. And you either have good results or you have bad results. But when you heal that subconscious story, it's like empowering your mind. It's like empowering your money, your resources, knowing that you deserve to be paid for your work, that you don't have to give until you're empty. Until you're maxing out. I would have clients, true story, that were maxing out credit cards to pay for mortgages, car payments, buying groceries for their family while they discounted their rates to help someone else. And I straight out was like, listen, their money story is not your business. It's not your business. What someone does to get money to pay for you is not your business. What someone needs in order to live, it's not your business. You can't attach the way that you feel empathetically, which is very sweet of you, because I definitely have empathy too, and I try to help my clients the best that I can. I try to meet their budgets if I can. But if it's taking food off my table for my children, that's a boundary. That's an unbreakable boundary, okay? Okay. So here's the reality of it. They may not hire you. They may not hire you. And that's okay, because they may not be the right one for you. But when we detach from the story, when we detach from the trauma that has held us captive in our business, we stop discounting and minimalizing what we're worth. Okay, you don't have to be Walmart if you're really Louis Vuitton. If you want to be the Louis Vuitton in your industry, fuck it, do it. Charge the prices that you're worth. Charge the prices that it is. It has nothing to do with your worth. Detach from the worth story because you're innately worthy. If you want to be Walmart, be Walmart. Be proud. Be proud to have prices that meet people's needs on a budget. But as long as you are not taking away from you, and when you clean your money story up, when you clean up your traumas around money, you will show up in any way, Louis Vuitton or Walmart, it doesn't matter, but you'll feel good. You don't have to shrink yourself to protect the people that you love. You don't have to shrink yourself and pretend that you don't need to be successful, or that you don't need to make money to make someone else successful and make them happy. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, well, my parents love doing this. Oh my God, yes. Yep, so do my parents. And they don't even have shit. But the shit that they did have, they held over my head all the time. Like, we helped you with such and such a thing. Now you owe us everything, right? Okay, the next factor is fear. Now, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I am the fear-busting queen, for real. This is where I started. My journey started with fear. When I realized that fear was up here, and the underbelly of fear was here, and that's truly what was feeding all of my emotions and reactive behaviors, that's when I got scared straight. That's when I figured out, get a hold of your shit, Andrea. And that's how I help my women. I help them tackle their fears. I love to talk about fear because it's something I have worked so hard to get through, especially my fear in businesses. Fear is just our perspective. It's not our reality. Just like you tell your little one if you have kids, don't be afraid. Like, they're afraid of like the big monster under their bed. Their fear is what's scaring them. It's the thought of this big monster coming to attack them in the night. But the reality is, there's no one under the bed. Maybe it's a stuffed animal, a really cute little bunny stuck in the corner that scared them. We don't know. It's an illusion. Fear is an illusion. It's a perspective. It's not your reality. All you have to do is shift that a little bit, and then you'll see. I like to do this exercise around fear that looks like this, okay? And maybe I can send off a worksheet later on, but I actually had my daughter help me out with this, and I hope you guys can see it. I did it on the chalkboard, but can you guys see this? Can you see this? Just tell me if you can see this. You can see it. All right, cool. Okay, so basically what happens is fear starts here with our thoughts, okay? Our thoughts create our beliefs, okay? So we believe things. Once we're fearful of them, we believe them, especially when our nervous system is wired. Because here's the raw truth. When you've gone through anything traumatic in your life, big or small, your system gets wired. It's just wired differently, and there's no coming back from that. You just have to approach it differently. You have to use tools. That's like if somebody had a learning disability, like I had growing up, right? I'm not stupid. I learn differently. I learn at a different pace. I need special teachers to support me in my learning. I need to be more visual. I have tools that help me, mnemonic devices that help me. Same thing with trauma. Same thing with trauma, okay? So here we have our thoughts. If you can see, I hope you can see. I'm gonna put a worksheet together and post it in a group for Keisha. Here's our thoughts that create our beliefs. Your thoughts create your beliefs tenfold. It's BS if you think that doesn't happen. It happens. So if you think you are unworthy, if your thoughts are like, I'm unworthy, then you believe you are unworthy. And then what happens is your thoughts determine your actions. So if you feel unworthy, right, your belief is that you're unworthy, you're going to act as if you are unworthy, and you are going to discount your prices. You're not going to show up. You're going to hide. You're going to numb out. You're going to let all these emotional reactive responses take you down, because that's where the place that you're operating from, okay? So after we have our actions, they create results, okay? So your actions determine your results. So of course, if results in your business are derived by fear, then your results are not going to be good. They're going to be a direct reflection of your business, of your fears. If you allow fear to drive the vehicle in your business or in your life, it doesn't matter what the navigation says, AKA strategy, skill, appearance. That doesn't matter. If we are not in aligned wholeness, this is what I call aligned wholeness in our business, then our fear is 100% driving this vehicle. So how the loop goes from the thoughts to the beliefs to the action to the results, here is the major piece right here, okay? This is your feedback. So once you get your results, which maybe let's take like a very simple, maybe you have like not a lot of money, like from a program that you sold, or you didn't have a good launch, let's just say. That's your results. But remember, it derived from the fear, this thought up here, that created the beliefs that the actions that you put towards were you were in scarcity, you were in desperation, you weren't in aligned wholeness. So now you have these results. You have you have the feedback now. And the feedback is, it's not so good, right? So that creates more thoughts. Now, does that make sense? Does that make sense? And I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna set up a worksheet for you guys, but that's really how the fear loop works, how this belief loop works. We are what we think. And sadly, what we think, 90% of it is coming from our subconscious, and our subconscious mind lies. It only takes the feedback from our experiences. But if you look at your experiences, they are derived by fear. So it's not accurate feedback. You are super smart. You are super talented. You are super worthy. You are super beautiful. But when you look in the mirror, your feedback's like, I'm fat. Oh, that picture made me look fat. Or I'm unworthy because I didn't make enough money on this launch. That's where this all starts. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, how are we doing? I want to open up here. Yes, awesome, so good, perfect, yay, thank you. Okay, I'm glad you like it. Like I said, I'll send over, you can fill out your own little worksheet. It might help you. I know for me, when I get into that loop, I have to go back to this diagram, and I literally have to put out the things that I'm feeling, because it's important to address our thoughts. When we address our thoughts, just like when we address our fears, we're not so big anymore. We can dissect them a little bit more, okay? All right, so now that we've gone through the loop, the other part of it is when we're stuck in fear, we are not in a good place. We are not in a good head place. And we act from that place. We act from scarcity. We act from like desperation, people pleasing, low self-worth, confidence, all those things that create the results. And then from that place, whatever those results are, we get the feedback, and then the loop starts over and over and over again. So proving yourself unworthy is super easy. I could do it right now. If I really wanted to, I could think about 10 things that I did today that I feel already unworthy about. But I don't let my mind go there anymore because I'm innately worthy. So no matter what that fucking feedback shows, it's not accurate. It's an illusion. And I have to look, was I in aligned wholeness? Because that's really the key. If you're in aligned wholeness, then your results will reflect that, okay? All right, a healed mind is one where you can stop the negative thought right in its track and redirect it. And I came up with that quote, and I actually have that quote on my wall over here, because we are constantly getting into loops of negative thoughts that are fear-based thoughts. Okay, the last factor is relationships. Unhealed trauma greatly affects our relationships, like tenfold, okay? And there's a very elementary reason why it does. Without going too in deep, because this is a really big topic in itself, I'm gonna just kind of simplify things for you. When we are supercharged with emotions, then our relationships become casualties. I'm going to repeat this for the people in the back. When we are supercharged with emotions, our relationship become casualties. It's just the nature of the beast. Living through trauma, and again, this looks different for everyone, you could result in anger, frustration, danger, always feel fearful, betrayal, trust, abandonment. But most important, and this is big for business, communication. When you cannot communicate your needs, especially in intimate relationships and in business, it can get extremely difficult and intense to be productive. When you don't know how to regulate your emotions through your reactions, all of a sudden these reactions become larger than life, right? They become larger than life. You're overwhelmed. The people around you are overwhelmed, okay? And for your business, it's never good to make decisions off charged emotions, something I learned the hard way with. You don't want to make a permanent choice off a temporary emotion, because here's the truth. You might be supercharged right at the trigger, but over time, as the adrenaline starts to come down and your cortisol starts to raise, you never level off. There's no such thing as balance for this unless you're healed. But you will come down off the high a little bit. Once that comes down and the trigger settles, like you probably could think, if you're ever mad at your kids, like I don't know, my daughter the other day, like spilled coffee, like, or tea rather, on the rug. And I was like, what the fuck? My instant adrenaline went here. But because I'm aware, I was like, okay, walk away, take 10, don't kill her, like move into another moment, you're fine, it's only a little mess, we can, you know what I mean? So it's like, I know how to talk myself down. But when you don't, naturally you will come down after the explosion. So if you're making permanent decisions in your business off temporary emotions, the result of those decisions are not going to be good. And we talked about those decisions. It's very hard to communicate effectively when you feel vulnerable, when you feel unsafe. And therefore, it may be difficult for you to trust and allow people in. Like, here's the thing. We as a community, like, we love this, right? Like, we crave inclusion. We crave community. We want to, like, coexist together, like, all snuggly, right? But then when we do coexist, we're like, get the fuck out of my space. Like, you're pissing me off. What a dirtbag he is. What an asshole. What a douchebag. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're all in this place that we want it so much, but we don't know how to communicate our needs. We don't know how to say to someone, I need space right now. Like, I can't make this decision because I'm really unhappy with how you presented this to me. I need time to process. That here is the key process. So it's very hard to communicate effectively when you're feeling all these emotions, okay? The same issue we see with trauma. In other words, like here's the thing. When you're like supercharged with all these emotions, it's not really socially acceptable. That's the truth of it. People don't look at anxiety, depression, PTSD, supercharged emotions as like, oh, yeah, let's give her a free pass. She's emotional today. She's being very triggered. It's triggering a moment in time when her mother, abandoned her. No. Nobody is thinking that way. Nobody cares. And I don't mean to be insensitive because I care and I love you, but I'm awoke. I'm different. I'm awoke. You're awoke. So it's different. We do tune in like that. We do see someone and go, oh shit, there might be something else beneath this. This can't be, this feels off to me. But everyone else will exile you because it's not socially acceptable in the population to be dealing with issues. That's why Facebook is one big fake Facebook. It's one big, my life is so wonderful. I'm sitting in Bali, sipping on a margarita and everything is fabulous. No, that's not what reality actually looks like for most people. That's why I choose to come in authentic and real. And if I don't get a business because of it, oh well, I don't want to, it's more than meets the eye is what I'm trying to say, okay? And communication is so, so vital. But healing trauma can turn this around. You learn to regulate your emotions. You become naturally a better communicator, a better listener, which is super important too. You learn to accept things about yourself. Part of being a good communicator is accepting responsibility, accepting personal responsibility for the decisions that you made, right or wrong or indifferent or whatever it is. You become a better support system. You become a better coworker. You become a better CEO. You become a better parent. All these things start to come together. Now, I love this quote. I don't know why it came to me when I was putting this presentation together, but I love this quote, and I'm probably bashing it up, but I love the movie The Notebook, and my very, very favorite scene of the movie is when Noah, which is her like lifetime long love, they meet again, and she's making a decision between her current fiance and going back to the love of her life. And he's like, what do you want? And he's like screaming at her because she's so in her head, like, what if I hurt him? What if I hurt her? What if I disappoint my parents? What if I? And he's like, who cares about them? What do you want? And I love that because it's so provoking and it's so healing. When you can finally own what you truly want, that's when your life becomes an aligned wholeness. But if you're just off doing what everyone else wants you to do, being what everyone else wants you to be, taking the punches, being the doormat for everybody, all because unhealed trauma is running the show, then you don't really have anything to work with. There's no like good support foundation to work with. So back to kind of this quote, at the end, he's like, it's going to be hard. It's going to take hard work. And we're going to have to work at this every day. But I love you and I will do this with you. You know what I mean? That's another thing. It's going to be hard. I'm not here sitting here saying this has been an easy road for me. It's hard every day. And it's not hard because I'm complicating it. It's hard because it's taking a lot. It's taking parts of me that I've held on to for so long, that I've been so comfortable with, and I've had to learn to let go and trust and flow and just trust in myself more so than anything. And that's been truly hard, right? Because when we've been traumatized, our intuition stops talking to us. We stop calling up our inner child. We all now just suppress and silence everything. Our body needs to talk to us. We have to know how we feel, okay? Okay, so we have covered a ton. And I hope those 5 healing factors have helped you understand and push you or encourage you to heal on a deeper level, so you can benefit in your business. When you feel good, then your business will thrive. If someone else like me can make all of this happen, have a success story in my own right, money, family, solid marriage, I believe wholeheartedly, otherwise I would not be sitting here doing this, that you can too. I am a survivor. I am not special. I am not special. I just know that I have this awareness now. I have done this inner work. I have been supported by coaches. I have been supported by therapists. I have been supported in all these different realms, that I feel honored that I can sit here in this place now as a survivor and teach you all these things and bring change to your life and help you rewire your brain so you can heal from trauma. And I really, really hope this helped you.